Hello friends, Brothers Green back from a trip to California. We were in LA for 4 days and we were in San Francisco for another 2 days. Cooked with some amazing people and just had a lot of great experiences out there. Weather was fantastic. The food was fresh and delicious. Love it out in California. Back last night to a solid New York 27 degree winter reality check. That's why I'm wearing this classic all gray attire. Sometimes in New York, you know, you just tend to blend into the winters. It's just gray trees, gray sky, everything's gray. So I tend to camouflage. I think a lot of other people do that as well. But I'm supposed to be resting today because we're filming again tomorrow, but I'm not resting because creativity sparked, and sometimes when it sparks, you really can't do anything but act on it. Because a lot of times, creativity isn't flowing within. And when it's not flowing, those times are tough. So you take advantage of the times when it hits you. And the other day, actually on the plane, I was looking at some picture of this rice burger. So a burger made with rice patties. And Josh and I actually went to this amazing Korean barbecue place with our cousins when we were in LA. It really blew my mind. It was definitely the best Korean barbecue experience that I had ever had. So what I'm gonna do today is a bibimbap, okay? And I would pronounce that more in a Korean tone or a Korean accent, but I'll butcher it. My friend is Korean and he's always telling me the proper pronunciations of these Korean dishes, and it's intense. Like the accents and the tone you have to bring to these words, I'll just sound like an asshole. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna do a bibimbap burger, and it's gonna have all the elements of a bibimbap, but just kind of reversed into some sort of crazy burger. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cook the sticky rice. I'm just setting up this little propane burner because I'm cooking in front of the natural light, which makes it a little prettier for you guys. I always suggest if you are filming something or taking pictures, use natural light. It will definitely look the best. And there you go, grill on. I'm just gonna take this pot. And I got sticky rice because, here, I won't do that. Whoa! That will happen. Don't worry about that. Just turn it off if that happens. I've got this thing of sticky rice. Sticky rice is actually a short grain rice, just like this. And short grain just means, look, the grains are much shorter. But the whole situation with this rice is that it's much starchier. That's why with sushi, they use this rice because it's got that sticky consistency. Like it will stick to the sushi paper and it will roll up nice. And I figured that would be a perfect rice for this bun because it will hold together with hopefully not using other ingredients. I'm trying to figure out the best way to create a bun without adding an egg because that's kind of like the cop-out, and I'm already adding an egg later on in this dish. So I don't want too much egg, so hopefully just a little bit of sushi rice will stick together nice. I'm just gonna dump in about that much. So since this is a very starchy rice, I'm just gonna wash it off, and you'll see what happens. The water becomes super cloudy like that. So what you do is you just kind of pour it off. See that milky water? And you do that until it starts to run clear. So I'm just gonna do that a few times. So the water is clear, or it's much more clear than it was. I got a tiny bit lazy with it, but that's all right. You can have a little bit of starch in the water. And normally with rice, it's around a 2-to-1 ratio, but that's what I'm talking about. Every single grain of rice is different. Some of it is like a 1.5-to-1 ratio. So I kind of just add the water level until it looks about right, until it looks around a 2-to-1. And then my standard method is I bring it up to a boil, and once it's boiling, I cap it. Then for white rice, it's around 20 minutes. For like a brown rice, it could be 30 to 40 minutes. But I'll check it after probably 15 minutes and see where it's at, see if the water levels are right and what I gotta do from there. Move my rice to this back burner because I'm gonna be working on that cutting board over there. But the rice is boiling right now. Just gonna turn it down to low cap it, set it for 15 minutes, and forget it. Well, don't forget it completely. Hopefully the beeper will help me remember. On to the beef patty, and what are we gonna do for the beef? Bulgogi action. Probably my favorite part of Korean cuisine, or one of my favorite parts. I really like the fermentation stuff they have, but the way they marinate their meat is very special, and bulgogi is definitely their most popular marinade. That's the one you'll definitely see in the Korean barbecue restaurants. I have all my ingredients here. I'm gonna take this ground beef out of the picture for a second and make my marinade first. And normally with bulgogi, you'll marinate something really special like short ribs or skirt steak or ribeye or something like that. I'm doing the ground beef because we're doing a burger and it's also cheaper. So we're gonna have the same flavor but just with a cheaper piece of meat. And we'll start with all the things we have to chop up. We've got garlic clove, we've got ginger, and we've got this green onion. So I'll just chop up some of these green onions nice and fine for the marinade. Okay. We'll do a little bit of ginger, and you'll see this ginger gets super shriveled up if you just let it sit out, but that's alright because when you cut away at it, we'll just use this piece right here. Kind of cut away the shrivel part and still got some nice fresh meatiness that's been dry aging, you could say, on the inside. So I'll just slice that up nice and fine. You really want this super fine because we are biting straight into this burger. It's not just a marinade, it is kind of a filling and a marinade. Same thing with the garlic. Nice and fine. Okay, garlic going into the pot. Now here's where things get very interesting. I have an Asian pear here. And it's kind of funny because Asian pear is probably my favorite fruit, yet I've never really used it for a marinade. And a lot of bulgogi recipes have the Asian pear in the marinade, which is genius. That's what really separates this thing from other marinades, because you see the other standard ingredients, the ginger, the sesame, the chili, garlic, and a lot of Asian marinades, but Asian pear, that is frickin' genius. I'm just gonna take off a slice and then I'm gonna probably grate it right into this bowl. Take my microplane. There you go. Perfect. Look at all that good stuff coming. Ooh! It's like instant Asian pear sauce, applesauce, pear sauce. Wow, I gotta try that. Wow, really does taste like a pear sauce, pear applesauce. You know what I mean. I'm gonna hit it with some sesame seeds. Another essential ingredient, sesame oil, to really enhance the sesame flavor. Sesame oil when it's grilled is something special. Oh, that smells amazing. Do a little bit of soy sauce. And then just a tiny sprinkle of sugar. And this will help with the caramelization of all of these ingredients and caramelization of the burger. Speaking of enhancers, you can't forget some good old salt and pepper. Mix it up. I have made a lot of marinades in my day, and every cuisine tends to have like their staple, but come on. This guy right here, just take a look. That flavor profile combination, that is going to take my meat to another dimension. Okay, so I'm just going to add the ground beef and then start spooning in the marinade. We'll see. I can save a little bit of that. Actually, my girlfriend doesn't eat meat, so I think a little bit of that on some tofu. She'll be happy. Don't be scared to get in there with your hands to really incorporate. Okay, that was the rice, or the 1 minute countdown. So this should take me about 1 minute, then I'm gonna go over and check the rice. It's like you just take ground beef, something very ordinary, pretty plain, you add some of these delicious ingredients, and it's transformed into something extremely special that will impress anyone. You serve up just a little piece of this grilled up to your friends, they will freak the fuck out. Okay, so that is the rice telling me I should check on it. Now you're not supposed to peek on your rice, but it's been 15 minutes, so I'm gonna see what's going on in there. Okay, so it's very fluffy. Let's see, I'm just checking to see if the water is removed, and I'm just gonna taste it. Digging at the bottom. Okay, there's a tiny bit of water left over, and it's a slightly undercooked. So I'm just gonna add about 3 minutes. And that's what I'm saying about just kind of feeling out the rice situation. It's all right. This rice is gonna be just fine. The rice is done, and I'm actually gonna use a little sushi method that my brother taught me. What you do is you put it in a metal bowl, and then you spread it around the outside of the bowl to help with the cooling process. And you could sit there and fan it out as well, but I am certainly not gonna do that right now because I have other things to do. So this will do just fine. And honestly, I'm putting this together in a patty, so it's gonna get mashed together anyway. So it doesn't have to be perfect sushi rice or perfect rice in general, but it tastes good, and that's all that really matters. That's great. Okay, we've got our rice. I wanted to create the perfect sauce for this bibimbap burger, and I was throwing around ideas last night in my head, and nothing was really sticking. So I had to go to my brother, who creatively, sometimes he gets me. He really is good at thinking outside the box, where I was thinking pretty standard. Okay, how can I take soy sauce and some standard Korean ingredients? He instantly goes to kimchi. You don't know what kimchi is? It's this stuff. It is fermented cabbage, and you really can't have Korean food without it. This flavors a lot of their dishes, and it's one of the staples in Korean cuisine. And what they used to do is they would make this like delicious red pepper sauce. They would throw it on cabbage, which is probably the cheapest ingredient you could get, put it in a bottle, and they would bury it underground for a few weeks or a few months, come back, and you have this delicious fermented flavor. Very unique flavor, of course, because it's fermented, but you do get used to it over time, and it's really good for you. It's got probiotics and all that stuff. So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna just add mayo and keep it really simple. I've never done this before, but I figure a kimchi mayo sounds like a really good idea in my head. So let's see what happens. So I'll take some of this kimchi. I'll take that cabbage and I'll just give it a spin. Okay, now I'm gonna start adding my mayo. And this is QP mayo, which is actually Japanese mayo. Really just has like rice vinegar and a few other things added, but regular mayo would work fine. For some reason, I don't have regular mayo right now, and I only have this stuff. There we go. It's kind of funny. Originally, I wanted this super smooth. I figured like a nice creamy kimchi mayo sauce in my head. But my food processor is pretty damn weak. This thing's like 5 years old, and it's one of the smaller versions, and it's just not getting it smooth. But you gotta check this out. Tell me that this does not look like Big Mac sauce. So what I'm gonna do is keep it pretty chunky. The flavor is incredible. You can imagine if you add anything to mayo, it usually tastes good. But you know what? It actually kind of tastes like the Big Mac sauce a little bit. A little bit of spice. And the kimchi, like the pickled cabbage, fermented cabbage, reminds me of, I guess, the pickles you would get in a McDonald's Big Mac sauce. Really good. This burger needs a little fresh topping, so I'm gonna do a technique that I use a lot, which is just a quick pickle. I've got this cucumber here. I'm gonna slice it up thin, just add a few ingredients and really squish it together and sort of create a vinegar solution that infuses into the pickle. So you're getting the flavor. It's not an actual pickle, it's more of a marinated cucumber, but you're still gonna get that flavor of the pickle. Just slice these up nice and thin. I'm gonna keep it real simple. Just hit it with a little bit of salt, tiny bit of soy, and just a tiny bit of vinegar. I really am not looking for that much kick because I'm thinking in my head that the mayo actually has some nice kick with the kimchi. So I want more of just a fresh bite on top. And then a little bit of sesame seeds. And then what I'm gonna do is just take my hands, sort of scrunch this all up. Let that infuse together. I'm actually gonna take this strainer right here and just scoop these, because I don't really need these to marinate too much. There's plenty of flavor in them right now, and I don't want them too liquidy. So I'll let them sit in the fridge. And as the salt continues to pull out of these cucumbers and they sit in the fridge and cool down, they're gonna start to get a lot of their crunch back, which I'm looking for. I want that fresh crunch right on top. The last element I'm gonna add to this burger that we haven't yet prepared are these puppies. My favorite vegetable, my favorite mushroom. Shiitake mushrooms. So good, you can find them in most stores. And I love cooking these because, first of all, the flavor is amazing. The name sounds weird, I know. When I used to hear the name, it was a little freaky. But when you cook these things, the meatiness you get out of them is amazing. Such a good addition to any burger or any pasta dish. You really can add these to anything, and they're very simple to cook. You basically remove this stem because the stem is very tough, pretty much inedible. You can use that in a stock or whatever you want to do, and you just cook the caps. I'm gonna slice them up thin so they stack on the burger nice, but it really doesn't take much. Time to bring this Bibimbap burger together, but I realized I didn't even explain what Bibimbap actually is. So I'll give you guys the rundown for those of you who are very confused right now. Like, what the hell is this weird sounding dish? Basically, it's similar to a fried rice. It's a leftover dish. Like a lot of cuisines, over time you got these leftover dishes that start with some base like rice, and then they're topped with whatever you have, vegetables, meat, you know, pickles, fermented products, and over time those dishes almost become staples of that cuisine. And bibimbap is that staple for Korean cuisine, and it comes out in this, I think it's like a clay pot, sizzling hot, and the bottom is rice. And what happens is, because the pot is so hot, the bottom of the rice gets super crispy, and that's what everyone loves. You get this bottom crispy layer, and then it's topped with vegetables, you know, pickled products, whatever meat you have, and then it always is topped with the fried egg, of course, if you want it. So we're gonna do the fried egg, and I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna use this ring mold, and this is a mason jar ring mold because I don't have any standard ring molds, and I would use like a tinfoil homemade ring mold, but I really gotta pack in the rice to get some form on that bun. So hopefully this should work just fine. I'll fry the egg in here. I'm not exactly gonna fry the meat in here because the meat will shrink and I want it the same size as everything else, but let's give it a go. Okay, I got a pan screaming hot. It's smoking right now. I'm just gonna dump in these shiitakes. Oh, you know what? That's a lot of shiitakes. I'll save some of those because I want to get a really nice sear on these babies. And just let them sit. The thing with shiitakes is you don't need to cook them for long because they'll dry out very quickly. So rather than another mushroom, like a standard mushroom, a button mushroom, which has a lot of moisture, these don't have much moisture in them. So you're not necessarily trying to cook out moisture like another mushroom. You don't have to take it through that whole process of releasing the moisture, then cooking them down. These are gonna kind of sear instantly. And what I'm gonna do is just let them get nice and crispy on one side, nice and brown. And then I'm just gonna drizzle in a little bit of soy sauce, which I pretty much do with every single mushroom I cook, especially shiitake mushrooms because they're more of an Asian mushroom. But what happens is the mushroom will absorb the soy sauce and they become these little umami bombs. They basically taste like meat. One of the best meat substitutes you can get and just amazing flavor bomb for anything you want to add it to. Yeah, see, we've got some good brown color. Just hit them with a splash. You don't need much. Just a little bit of soy. Work that into the system. Okay, those are done. We're gonna remove those. So what I'm gonna do is I've got the pan real hot. I'm gonna place that down and give it a spray just to make sure it doesn't stick. And then just crack my egg right. Come on. Oh, it actually worked. Sometimes it doesn't work because of this mason jar. You'll get some leakage, but I think because the pan was very hot, it almost didn't have time to leak. It started cooking instantly when it hit the bottom of the pan. So happy about that. What I can try to do now is remove this. Let's see. Oh, wow. Damn, that was much easier than I thought. And then what I can do is take like a spoon, and there's still some uncooked white, and just sort of scrape that to the side. So what you're doing is you're getting a crispy bottom egg, but you're retaining the structure of this egg yolk because of course this is a burger and we want that beautifully scrumptious liquid egg yolk when you bite into this thing. Damn, that is a near perfect fried sunny side up egg. Sunny side up. We could use some sunny side up in this goddamn New York grayness. Now it's time to make some rice patties. Not work in the rice patties, but make some rice patties. So I'll just spray that real quick. And then I also do want to just get a little more oil because we want to get a nice fried crust on this rice patty. Really got to stuff it down there. Let's see, reveal, boom shalaka. Now I gotta check out the bottom of this. Oh no, too soon. Now the whole situation here is we want a crispy bottom because you're gonna be biting into straight rice, which is obviously gonna be chewy, it's gonna be soft. So we're looking to get some texture. I've got a little bit of oil in there. We should be ready to flip soon. This thing is definitely fragile though, so I gotta be careful. I'm gonna put a little more oil down. We lost a little bit. It's alright. Okay, this thing's pretty much done, but I actually had a better idea. You can see that's falling apart a little bit. That's why we're testing this on the fly. So I actually formed this patty in the same ring mold, but I formed it on a plate. So I had time to really pack it down without it being too hot, burning my goddamn fingers off. And I think that will be better because it's actually packed much more. I had a chance to really seal it up nice. But that's cooking for you. We're learning on the fly. Now I know how to make these rice patties. I'm gonna do one more of these and I'll just eat this one as sort of like a fried piece of rice. It's still delicious. There we go, number 2. These things are ready to turn. Oh, gotta be super careful with them. Wow. Oh my God. You know what, it actually took a good amount of time. It took 5 to 7 minutes really cooking the shit out of one side. But these are so crispy and they held together. Just a little more oil. They definitely require a good amount of oil, but that's just what you're in for when you're trying to get rice super crispy and not burnt. So I'll cook these for, oh my God, those are gonna be insane. Those are like deep fried. I'm going on with my Bulgogi burger patty. And I used the ring mold to actually form this, but I took it out and just spread it out just a little bit because what's gonna happen is it's gonna shrink a tiny bit as well. And I wanna keep it similar to the size of the bun. Here we go, flip. Oh, Lord. See that? Caramelization from all that delicious sugar. Of course, just caramelization from the meat. You can see the green onion in there, the ginger, the garlic. The smells are insanity. I'm sure you can imagine. Just look at it. Okay, by the feel of it, that seems about medium right there. It's got a little bit of give, but it's starting to firm up nicely. I think that's ready to come off. Here we go, folks, for the people who stuck with me till the end. Okay, so we've got our patty. It's nice and crispy. We're gonna hit it with some of that Kimchi Mayo special sauce. Nice glob of that. Okay. Laying down with our patty. Hit it with some shiitakes. Get some of those fresh pickles on there. Can't forget the old egg. And then the top bun, but I think I'm gonna put a little bit of sauce on that. All right, when I put this bun on, we're gonna have breakage of that yolk. So get ready for it, folks. All right, the Bibimbap Korean rice patty burger. When I put this final patty on, we're gonna have breakage on that thing, and the mission will be complete, other than the taste, of course. Okay. And there we go. Oh my God. They talk about food porn, but come on. Look at that. That's like a waterfall of gooey love right there. That could not have been more perfect. I don't think I've ever seen a better yolk pour in my life. That's the most natural looking thing I've ever seen. Ah! That sauce right there, my friends. Just look at this thing. It's a piece of art. This is the stuff I love doing. I actually went to school for architecture and I originally wanted to be a builder. That was my original passion, building stuff with wood, working on homes, different projects like that. And then I found food and now I build stuff out of food. Just like this beautiful burger. But the best part about building stuff out of food is you get to eat it at the end. Mmm. That is a flavor explosion. You know what? The bottom bun fell apart on me. That one was a little more unstable. The top one is perfectly staying together. I think the bottom one, because I was letting it sit there and the meat was hot on the bottom, it started to fall apart a little bit and lose its form. But other than that, if you can perfect these buns, you've got something very special. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.